Hey everybody, Mac here, and we are going to work with factoring trinomials with a leading coefficient. A leading coefficient means that now there's a number in front of these x squareds. Before, when we did these, we didn't have numbers in front. It was nice and easy and fun, and we loved it. Now we don't love them as much with these numbers, okay? They make them a little bit nastier. I have done a version A and a version B. This is version C. So I have another cases where I've done 20 of these, and I have a video of me working these out on a whiteboard. They can all be found at maxtutorials.com, written down here on the bottom. If you go there, I have lots of things in math, and they're all structured, and you can kind of follow along. So go hit that website, and that'll help you to find more help on the algebra stuff. And again, whenever you like, subscribe, make comments, ask questions. Really helps us both out to do really well, okay? So I've got 10 problems here. Let's start with number 1. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write my parentheses. Now, instead of writing the x and x, I've got to use that number. Now, that number can only be broken down to 2 and 1. I love it. We love prime numbers when we do these because it takes away some of our choices. So it's going to be 2x and x, and that's it. But for our third term, that can either be a 3 and a 1, or it can be a 1 and a 3. Now, when we did it before, when we didn't have a coefficient, it didn't matter what order we put them in. It was fine. Now the order does matter, so we have to pay attention to that. Now, same rules as before. Third term is negative. My signs are going to be different. Okay, so I don't know what they are yet. By the way, if you're doing a multiple choice and you look and you see that there's a plus plus or a minus minus in the answer, cross those out. Just cross them out right away. And then even if you kind of mess up and can't really figure it out, you at least know that the ones that have the same signs are wrong because you know that these are going to be different. Those are little tricks that can help you on a test, okay? Even just using some logic and eliminating some answers you know are wrong, that can help you, okay? It's better to guess between 2 answers than guess between 4. All right. So anyways, I need to subtract the 5. And I know that if I'm going to subtract the 5, one of my numbers has to be bigger than 5. So do I want to go 3 here and 1 here, or 1 here and 3 there? Well, if I put a 3 there, my outies are going to be bigger than 5. And my 1 there, that's going to be a 1. Will 6 and 5 subtract? Will 6 and 1 subtract the 5? The answer is yes, they will. And when you do it, you want the 6 to be positive and you want the 1 to be negative. So 2x times what kind of 3 gives me a positive 6? Positive 3. What flavor of 1 times x gives me a negative 1? Negative. And that, my friends, is our answer. Let's go on to number 2. Now, number 2 is a little nastier. Now, I love that I have a prime 3, because then I'm just going to go 3x and x. I don't have any choice. But look at all the choices I have here with that 12. Okay, it could be 12 and 1. It could be 6 and 2. It could be 4 and 3. And the reverse, 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. So there's a few things we could do. We randomly just start putting in 6 different options and hope we get them right, or we use a little bit of logic. Third term is positive, yes? So third term is positive, signs are going to be the same, and we take the sign in the middle, so we know that. And we know since third term is positive, my outies and my innies are going to add to 13. Well, if two numbers are going to add to 13, then we know that my factors can't be bigger than 13. So now watch. If I were to put a 12 here, that's going to be higher than 13. That ain't going to work. If I put a 6 there, that'll be higher, so that ain't going to work. If I put a 4 there, well, if I put a 4 there, it'll give me a 12. But then my 3, well, that's going to be higher than 13. That's not going to work. Okay, so I already just eliminated 3 of them. If I go to 12 and 1 here, I can tell, well, I'm going to have a 12 and a 3. That's going to be higher. So now these are my only options. So let's just pick one. I'm just going to go 6 and 2. Let's try it. What's 3 times a negative 2? Negative 6. What's the negative 6 times 1? Negative 6. Will they add the 13? Nope. So that one didn't work. So let's try one more. I'm going to try my 4 and my 3. Go away. Go away. 4 and 3. And this one, I'm going to get a negative 9, and here I'm going to get a negative 4. Will they add to negative 13? They absolutely will. I found my answer. But did you see how I just used logic to pull 4 answers out, so I really only had to choose between 2? There you go. That's how you do it. Also, let's say you're looking at your answers and it's multiple choice and it's A, B, C, D, right? And you see one is, we'll call this one the right answer, 3x minus 4 and an x minus 3, yay? Okay, cool. Let me zoom up. Now this one is going to be a 3x plus 4 and an x minus 3. This is going to be a 3x minus 4 and an x plus 3. And then this one is going to be, let's just say they thought it was going to be the 1 and the 12. And they go in x minus 1. Sorry, that would be a 3x minus 1 and an x plus 12. Okay? I know this has nothing to do with the problem, but I just want to show you guys some things to do. Once I see this third term is positive, I know the signs are the same, and I know they're both going to be negative. Right there, I know A is wrong. Right now, I know D is wrong because of the signs. Shoot, I even know C is wrong. I don't even need to do the problem. The answer is B. I just figured out the signs. Okay, so sometimes you get lucky on that. So use that if it's ever a multiple choice. All right? But if it's freehand, you got to do it this way, then that ain't going to help you. But a nice little trick. Okay, this might be one of the nastier ones that I have on here. Because this can either be a 6 and a 1, or it can be a 3 and a 2. This can be a 12 and a 1, a 6 and a 2, a 4 and a 3, or these can all reverse to 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 4 and 3. So I have 6 options to go with either of these two. I have 12 options. So if I just randomly plug them in, I've got to do that 12 times to get it right. Well, that's pretty ugly. So let's think before we do stuff. Third term positive. Signs are the same. Take the sign in the middle. And my outies and innies need to add to 17. Okay, when I see that, first of all, so I know that they both need to be smaller than 17. I feel better with my 3x and my 2x, that they're going to be smaller than 17. Doesn't mean they will. It still might be 6 and 1, but that'll give me better odds. If I want to subtract the 17, now I want to use the 6 and 1 because I want to try to get one of my numbers bigger than 17. So I would probably try to 6 and 1. So again, that's just using logic to try to solve this, all right? Now, let's try the 12 and 1. It could work. Let's go 12 and 1 here. Well, maybe not that one because this will give me a 36. That's going to be really big. So let's just take that one out. Okay, but I can go 12 here and 1 here. And that'll give me a 3 and a 24. Those will add to something much bigger. So my 12 and my 1, they ain't going to work. Okay? So now we try my 6 and 2s. Okay, well, if I put a 6 here, that'll be 18. I don't want to do that. So my 6 and 2, that'll give me a 6 here, and that'll give me a 12 here. Well, that won't add up to 17. That ain't going to work. So let's not do that. Let's try my 4s and my 3s. I'm going to go 4 and 3. That'll give me a 9 and an 8. Does that do it? It does. 9 plus 8 is 17. I found my answer. Okay? And I didn't have to try 12 different 12 different options. I tried about 3. All right, let's look at this next one. Boom, 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 boom. 2x and x, I have no other choice. Okay, so that's done. This can be 9 and 1, or it can be 3 and 3. Third term is negative, so my signs will be different. Don't write them in yet. And my outies and innies need to subtract the 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the 3 and 3. And the reason I do that is because I know that if it's wrong, I can cross them out because I can't flip them. It'll just be 3 and 3 again. So here I'm going to get a 6x, and here I'm going to get a 3x. Will those subtract to a 3? They absolutely will. But I need it to be a negative 3. So I want my 6 to be negative, and I want my 3 to be positive. 2 times what kind of a 3 is negative 6? Negative. What kind of 3 times x is positive? Positive. There, I am done. All right, let's go to number 5. Hey, prime numbers. We love these prime numbers. Boom, 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 boom. Hopefully this is a quick one. 5x and x, and this can either be 1 and 2 or 2 and 1. Third term negative. Signs are different. They need to subtract the 3. If they're going to subtract the 3, it means one of them has to be bigger than 3. I'm going to try putting the 2 here and the 1 there. Let's see what happens. Well, that'll give me a 10 and a 1. Wow, that's maybe too big. All right, so let's try the other one. Erase, erase. A 1 there and a 2 there. That'll give me a 5 and a 2. Will they subtract the 3? Yeah, they will. But I need my 5 positive, my 2 to be negative. So 5 times a plus 1, and this will be a negative 2 times an x. Done. All right, guys, halfway there. Way to hang in there. This next one is a little nastier because we have more choices. 6 and 1 and 3 and 2. This also is 6 and 1 and 3 and 2, but it could also be 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. So I have 8 choices I've got to try. Let's see if I can narrow those down a little bit, okay? Let's start with the 3 and 2. I'm just guessing. That's literally just a guess, all right? Third term negative, signs will be different. So if it's a multiple choice, erase any one or cross out any that are the same. And they need to subtract the 5. So I need one of them to be bigger than 5. All righty. Well, if I start using these 6s and 1s, I'm going to be getting like 18s and 12s. That just feels really big to me. So I'm just going to go with 3 there and a 2 there, and I'm going to start there. Here I'm going to get a 9, and here I'm going to get a 4. Lo and behold, they subtract the 5. I found my answer on the first try. Boom. Sometimes that's just luck. It's just dumb luck. But like the 3 and the 2, dumb luck. I could have tried 6 and 1. But I did use some logic on the 3s and 2s, okay? So now 3 times what kind of a 3 is negative 9? Negative. 2 times what kind of a 2 is positive? Positive. All right? Let's go on to number 7 out of 10. All right, so now here we're going to either do a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 2. And this right here is either going to be a 1 and 21, or it's going to be a 7 and a 3, or they will flip to a 21 and 1 or a 3 and 7. All right, those are my choices. Let's see what we get. Again, I usually like to start with my, oh, sorry, I wrote 2 and 1. I meant to write 2 and 2, sorry. I like to start with my 2s and 2s. Let's give it a try. I'm just going to start plugging. Well, third term negative, signs are different. They're going to subtract the 8, so I need to get bigger than 8. Well, anything I put in will give me something bigger than 8, so that's not going to be hard. Outies is going to be a 14 and a 6. Look at that. First try, okay? So I need this to be a positive 14 and a negative 6 to get a positive 8. So I want a plus 7 and a negative 3, okay? Let's go on to number 8. Yay, a prime number. That makes it easy. 5x and x. There are no more choices. Done with the x part. Third term positive. Signs are the same. Take the sign in the middle. Boom, boom. Now, is it 3 and 2 or is it 2 and 3? I got 2 choices. They need to add to 11. So I don't want to get higher than 11. If I put my 3 right over here, I'm going to get a 15. So I don't want to do that. So I'm going to go 2 and 3. Oh dear, something's not working. So 5 and 2 will give me a negative 10. That'll give me a negative 3. Ah, I forgot something. Did you guys see it? It's not 2 and 3 and 3 and 2. I mean, it could be. Those could be answers. But I have another choice. I have 6 and 1. Or I have 1 and 6, right? Well, if I put a 6 over here on the outside, that's going to give me up to the 30s. That's a little crazy. So let me try 1 there and a 6 there, okay? That'll give me a negative 5. And that'll give me a negative 6. Will they add to 11? Yes, they will. And boom, we are done. Okay, 2 more. See if I can get these 2 before my dog keeps snoring. Okay, he's starting to snore a little bit. Oh, listen to that snort. Here we go. I have a 3x and I have an x right here. Now, my 8s can be many different things. It could be an 8 and a 1, or it could be a 4 and a 2, or it could be a 1 and an 8, or it could be a 2 and a 4. The 3s can't flip-flop. We're good. Third term is negative. Signs will be different, and they will subtract to a positive 10. So I do need to get bigger than a 10 for sure, okay? So now, if I put an 8 on the outside, that gets me in the 24s. These are just really big numbers. I'm going to try my 2s and my 4s. I want to put my 4 on the outside, and I'm going to put my 2 on the inside. That'll give me a 12, and that'll give me a 2. Will those subtract a 10? They absolutely will. Now, because this has to be a positive 10, I want a positive 12 and a negative 2. 3 times what kind of a 4 is positive 12? Positive. What kind of a 2 times x is negative? Negative. All right, and our last one. All right, well, they're both 4s, so they both can either be 4 and 1 or 2 and 2. But this one could also be 1 and 4, well, and just a 2 and 2. So I don't have a lot of choices there. But I'm looking at that middle, and I see a 17. So those are going to be big. So I'm just going to start with my 4x and 1x. I normally start with 2 and 2, but I'm going to start with 4 and 1 because, you know, I really want to get my numbers to get big. Okay, so now third term positive, signs are the same, take the sign of the middle, and they are going to add to 17. Well, I know if I put a 4 there, I'm going to get a 16. My 1 there will give me a 1, and look at that. I am there already. 16 and 1. And they're both negative. Do they add to 17? They sure do. Okay? So I did a bunch with you. So hopefully by getting a practice, and if you looked at version A, B, and C, you had 30 of these to do. Hopefully you feel super confident, and this could support what you guys were doing in your class. And that is how we do leading term, leading coefficient trinomials. All right, guys, good work. See you on the next one.